Hello, hello. Who's ready to paint? As you're popping on, say hi. How is everyone tonight? Give everybody a chance to find me here. If you're just popping on, say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you're painting with me tonight or are you just watching. I get quite a variety of both, so I see tons of people popping on now. That's awesome. We have Tiffany and Kay and Dawn. I see Kansas, Diana from Kansas. Ginger from San Leandro. I hope I said that right. Well, they're popping on. Tons and tons. That's awesome. I can't read it fast enough. K-Dog says, a newbie here but watching. Awesome. We always welcome watchers, and then there's always a replay. So if you want to try it after you watch it, then that's great. I have Illinois here, Maryland, Kitchener. That's not too far from me. Toronto. I'm from Ontario, Canada. So we have a London, Ontario. And painting tonight. Awesome. And Tammy painting. I could have guessed that one, Tammy. I might have been able to guess it. And then we have Jen painting with you from Washington State. That's awesome. We had a Washington State last time. I did my grade 12 year there, so we have another Washington State. That's cool. Wow. We have Cincinnati. This is going to be recorded to watch later, and it's going to be up on my page for quite a while, so there's no rush to get to it. If you didn't get all the supplies, you can watch the replay, take your time on it. Also, you don't have to have the same colors. So I always kind of preach that everybody's painting's different. Everybody has a different vision. Maybe you want to hang this in your house, and you know, oranges and yellows just don't go. So you can really go with blues or purples or really whatever you want. This is just a guideline to start you off. And I always say, let your imagination soar, because that's the beauty in creating. So we get to see a little bit of what everyone creates, and it's all different. I've had people paint with me. I've had, like, in person, I've had over 50 people at one time, and not anyone's painting looks the same, and that's what makes me so happy. So we will start soon. I'm just making sure everybody finds me first. We'll go over the supply list just in case anyone wants to run really quick and grab some stuff and give it a try. But I'm just going to give it a few more minutes and just let people keep hopping on. So hello to everybody. If I didn't say your name, there's over 250 watching tonight, so I can't get to everybody, but I welcome you all. Patty, we put off homework to the weekend. That sounds like a great plan. I know you said you're doing online learning, so so am I. It's been an incredibly stressful week for anybody who's doing online. I don't know if the States works the same as Canada, but a lot of the programs are so overwhelmed with so many students joining or even transferring from in-school to online that the programs can't support it. So we have kids flying offline, and I don't know if much learning actually happened this week, but I probably got a few gray hairs. So that's where we're at right now. So this is our time. It's my time too. after running around all week, to just enjoy time with you and just paint, my passion, my relaxation time, and just to teach you a few different techniques. Ontario, Canada, we have. Living in North Carolina, is that? Becky says, love your hair. Thank you. Thank you. I always like it short. It's just easy. It's easy and it's fun. K-Dog says, I love your hair too. Oh, thank you. You guys are great for my self-confidence. All right, so I see we still have a few more popping on. I am going to just kind of go over slowly the supply list. There was a supply list up underneath the description for quite a while, so if you're not painting tonight, there's always time to get that. If you are, then you can just kind of see what we're using, just kind of quickly go over that. So tonight we're going to be painting this. I called it Bright Bridge just because it's pretty behind and it's bright. Very creative, I know. So we have the Quinacridone Magenta tonight. Now this is just like a pretty deep pink. So if you just have a deep pink of some sort, you can manage to make this work. We have just white here and black. And then I have pumpkin orange and buttery yellow. If you wanted it to be more vivid, you could always go with vivid yellow or something a little brighter. This kind of settled it down a bit. And then we have navy blue and we have black. Or I already said black. I got it twice. Okay, well, there we go. Okay, so I do have different brand names. That is okay as long as they're both acrylic. That's no problem. Some are going to be a little bit of higher quality than others. I love to use these ones the most. These are just from the Dollar Tree. They really are the cheapest for the most quantity, but the quality is pretty good. If you're looking to just paint and you're not like getting into it professionally or anything like that, I paint with these. I take these to paint parties all the time and they do the job very, very well. So that is a cheap way to paint where your product is still going to look beautiful. And then if you did want to go a little higher quality, then this brand is awesome too. We have Liquitex Basics Acrylic, and this one's going to kind of go onto your plate more like a paste, but these are not too bad either. They run about $5 for 4 ounces in Canada. So if you're from the States, you're probably actually going to get them a bit cheaper. And then also this one we have tonight, Folk Art. This is kind of in the middle of both, and I think this is about, what is this, 8 ounces? I think this was about $9 for 8 ounces. So not too bad. We've got a variety. I mix them all up all the time and everything still turns out okay. So yes, yes, Deborah says, took me 2 weeks of searching to find white paint. It is not easy right now. Everybody is painting during COVID. I think it's just a relaxed thing to do, and it's kind of taking everyone's mind off of everything. So if you are not finding paint, neither am I very easily. I used to work at the Dollar Tree in the town I live in, so I literally begged the person that now like works there, that manages it, to save me white paint, or I probably would be not painting with white paint tonight. So we have plates and napkins and a cup of water for our brushes. I have a 1/2 inch flathead brush tonight for the background. That will do our blending. And then I have just a smaller flathead. There's no number on this. Just a tiny one will work. And then I have, this is a number 3 detail brush. You can use a number 3 or smaller and it would be just fine for what we're doing tonight. Patricia says, oh, there you are. Were you having a hard time finding me? I know. I just, when I have free events, they're just live right on my page. So there's no links, there's nothing to click. Just come on my page and it should be right, I should be right there. And then I have tonight an 11 by 14. This is a multimedia paper. You can use canvas or wood. I like to use Knotty Pine. a lot of the times to paint on. It's a little bit of a softer wood, but I find it just makes kind of the painting pop. So, but yeah, so this is it tonight. I paint on multimedia paper with everybody because I do at least one paint night a week, and my house cannot support any more canvas. So that is why I show you tutorials on this, but feel free to grab canvas or whatever you have is great. Okay, Susan says, what colors are you using? I'll go over them one more time and then we'll get started. So I have the magenta here, just like a deep pink. And then I have pumpkin orange, buttery yellow, navy blue, and then black and white. And those are our main colors tonight. Like I said earlier, though, if you have something different, don't be afraid to use it. All right, so I'm just going to flip these to the side here, and we can get started. If everybody's ready to get started, shoot me some likes or thumbs up. Let me know if you're ready, and we will rock. I'm starting to see some thumbs up coming in. That's awesome. You can use Tuscan red. It will just look a little more red than pink, but that's not a big deal at all. You can definitely use it. I have Tuscan red here that I use on a regular basis, so I know the exact color, and it will be fine. If you don't have pumpkin orange, you can mix red and yellow, and you can still get orange. So no worries about that. The class will be about 1.5 hours to 2 hours. I usually like to take my time. I do ask between steps for thumbs up or likes so that I know if everyone's keeping up pretty good. I like to get a majority number for keeping up. I don't want anyone to feel rushed. I purposely do these paint parties with a lot of time on my hands when I know I have a lot of time, so that we can all just come together, paint, relax, not feel rushed. So just if I am going too fast, just pop it up in the messages and I'll read it. If there's something you didn't understand, please ask a question. I do have my laptop here. I will look as often as I can to kind of answer questions. But okay, let's get started. And yes, there is going to be a replay, and it will be up for quite a while on my page. So if you do fall behind, I'm going to be replaying immediately after this is done, and you can just go right back on and fast forward to where we were and just continue on from there. All right, so let's start. Okay, so I am going to grab my 1/2-inch flathead brush first. Now, we're going to do the background blending first. This part is going to be a little bit quicker, only because when we're blending, it has to be wet paint on wet paint, or you're not going to achieve the look that you want. I have a lot of people who, when I paint in person with them, they really struggle with blending. And the main thing with blending is you need to have wet on wet paint to just touch a bit of your brush into water. We're going to go over it. We're going to show you how to achieve that good blending look that makes you like an ombre effect. Like you can't really tell where one color starts and the other one finishes. So that's what we're going for. So we are going to put all our background colors on our plates right now. So I have the magenta. So if you have anything like that you're painting with that isn't that, you can put that color on there. And it's also going to depend on the consistency of your paint. For example, this one, I would be more likely to add a little bit more water to than the Dollar Tree brands, just because they're already a bit more runny. So we have the magenta on there. I'm putting the orange on. And then the yellow, and I'll show you my plate when I'm done, just so you can see all the colors. And the reason why we're putting all our colors on now is that so we can get that blend. Acrylic paint dries incredibly fast, so we want to be able to just go from one color to the next. And I'm putting on that navy blue on my plate. And then we'll just put a little bit of black. We do not need white yet. Hi Mindy, she says my first time watching a live video with you. Welcome. Okay. My blues has some technical difficulties. Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna get the goobers in the paint. I must have not used that bottle for a while. Okay, so on our plate we have the magenta, orange, yellow, black, and the dark blue. You can see how different the consistency is from the Dollar Tree brands to the Michaels brand, but so what we're going to start with is our 1/2-inch flathead brush, and we're going to go into our paint. Now I have a little bit of the thicker paint for the first color that I'm starting, which is the magenta. We're going to put a good amount on there. When we're blending, we want a lot. I'm going to personally just dunk my brush a little bit in the water, just because this is a thicker paint, but if you have a thinner paint, don't worry about it yet. And I'm just going to start at the top, and I'm just going to go back and forth side to side. So I am going in the direction of the horizon because it's a pretty smooth sky. We don't have really any clouds in it or anything. So it's a clear night. You can see the stars. I'm just going in the same direction that the sky goes, and I'm using both sides of my brush. So I'm coming this way, and then I'm flipping, and I'm using the other side. Your paintbrush will naturally move paint from one side of the brush to the other as you put pressure. So we want to distribute the paint evenly. And we're just going to go a little bit lower than what we would start the next color. So I'm going to keep going a little bit more. My son coming to say goodnight to me. He is 7 years old and he's such a good boy. I tucked him in tonight and he said, "Can I just watch a little bit more TV?" So I said, as long as you promise to shut it off all on your own, then yes. So he did, and he came to say goodnight. So, okay. So right now we just have the one color on there. I'm just making sure it's all smoothed out. I guess if you divide your page in half here, I have it about 1/4 of that pink color, that magenta. So then we're going to go right into our orange. We go right into our orange here. And we're getting a good amount. It's gobbed on there. We do not want to be cheap with the paint, not for blending. We're going to go right over this line here, back and forth. Just a little bit under that line. And then we're going to start moving up. Now, I'm going to put just a tiny bit of water on my brush. So I'm just dunking just the very end of the bristles in, not the whole thing, because we don't want our paint to be dripping. And we're going to go right on that line where they meet. We're going to go back and forth. We're just going to keep going back and forth. That's how we're going to get that blend in there. And you will start to see, you can't really see where one color ends and one finishes. And if you are not getting that and you are getting a defined line, your paintbrush isn't wet enough and your paint is already drying up top. So you want to just dip the tips of your brush in the water and just go back over it. And you will see you'll get that blend. And we're going to do the same thing with the yellow. Like I said, this might be a little bit fast, but I will slow down a lot once we're done blending this back part. This just has to be done while everything's wet. So I'm in with the yellow, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just going where that line meets. I'm going back and forth across the line. And I'm not washing my brush for any of this. This is, we want all those colors in there. We want, when we do this, as we push down a little bit further on our brush, naturally paint will move down the bristles. As you can see here, I have yellow, I have some orange down here, and then I have a little bit of the magenta still. So as I'm doing this, I'm going light-handedly. If I want to put a little bit of that color down there in this bottom, I push down a little harder, and you'll see some of that pink coming through the yellow, because that is on the base of my brush still. So really, it's just how light and how heavy your hand is too. Yeah, so, sorry, I'm just reading some comments, making sure I'm not missing any questions as I go. Okay, so now I have my magenta here. I have the orange. It's going into the yellow if I don't dunk my whole hand in it. And I am going to go over with just a little more yellow because I'm feeling like the orange and the yellow just aren't enough of a difference. So I'm just going to bring a little more yellow in here and go back and forth again. You're going to be like, really? How many times do I have to go back and forth? A lot. That's the key to the blending. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this close so you can see. You can't really tell. I mean, I'm doing it on media paper, so it's going to be a bit shinier. So hopefully the reflection's not too bad in here. But you're not really seeing where one color ends and one starts, and that's what you want. If you are asking any questions and I'm not answering you, I will go back on my feed after and I will type it to you, all the answers. It's just a lot of people are watching tonight. We have over 320 people. So it's going to be impossible for me to do the tutorial and to see all these questions coming up and answer them before they go out of my feed. So I promise I will go back as soon as I'm done this tonight. And if you have any painting questions or you even want to private message me on my page, I will be glad to answer any questions anyone has, if I did not go over it during this tutorial. Okay, so when we're done that, I see my mom's on here. Thank you for answering any questions I'm not seeing. My mom will answer your questions. There you go. Okay, we are going to wash our brush after we are done this part. We're going to go we do not want to mix our blue because we are going to be then mixing warm colors and cool colors. If you are mixing warm colors and cool colors, you're going to get brown. And we don't really want brown in our sky. We want it to be bright. If we were trying to achieve brown, then we would mix yellow and blue, and that would give us some. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to leave a tiny line right here because we're going to be putting in our background mountains anyways, or our hills or trees back here. So we can leave a little line from where this connects to our next blending section. And we're going to go right into that navy blue. And my navy blue is a bit thinner. Some of the colors, I find the darker they are, the thinner they are a bit. So I might have to do a little bit more of a second coat. But I am keeping that white line in between. That's not going to matter. It's going to be covered up anyways. And that way we don't get no brown in there. We want nice blue water. This water's clean. We're just going to keep going with it. Back and forth. Using both sides of the brush. And acrylic paint dries so fast that by the time I get down here, I can probably just go back up and put a little bit more blue in. Okay. So we're still just going. So I am self-taught. I started painting about 10 years ago, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And I just really enjoyed it. I liked the way I felt relaxed when I painted. And so I just thought I would continue doing it. And the more I did it, the better I got. So I did not go to school to paint or anything like that. I do enjoy teaching others what I learned through trial and error. That's why I always say any level of painter is welcome. You might be even a better painter than me. Maybe you can give me a few tips. But as far as, I like to teach as far as my level goes. I always say, I'm not a fine artist, I'm a fun artist, but you can make a lot of cool stuff being a fun artist. So when we get down into this section here, I'm going to put a little bit of black on my brush. And I'm just going to go over it, just so there's some black, and then all the way to the bottom, just mixing that blue, just like we did the top colors, but just with the bottom. And it's not, there's no right or wrong for how much you put, like how far down you put it on the page. Mine's maybe an inch and a half up from the bottom of the page. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit of water. And then I can blend up. And I'm going to add some more blue anyways, just because my blue's a little bit thin. Mindy says your painting is already beautiful. Thank you. I think it's just the colors. The colors are just so nice. Okay. I am personally going back in. I'm personally going back in with the blue just for myself. If your paint has covered your canvas or your surface, then don't worry about it. I just like mine to be a bit darker. I can see some of the white still through. So I'm just going to go back over. And we can go right down into that black. Just kind of blend down. Also, I forgot to mention, this this event got duplicated. I don't know if not that I got hacked, but I know there are people out there duplicating events and then trying to charge people for them. So if anyone does see any links in the comment that I don't mention or that does not have my name above it, just don't click it. It's a couple times I've been hacked already, or whatever you want to call it, where people will put a link in the comments to go here and do whatever, I'm not sure. So just don't hit any links. I would never redirect you from this page while I'm painting. It would most likely be somebody redirecting you to make a payment towards something. So don't click any links unless there's a link I specifically say I put up there or I pinned it to the top of the page. Yes, Maria, the reflection on the page is just because I'm using multimedia paper. So when the paint is wet with the light, it kind of gives off a reflection. I will hold it closer for you just so you can see it better. So it's just the stuff that's wet down there. It actually looks like the water is real right now because it's all wet. But yeah, so we have that so far. We've got our sky, that little line in between, and the blue and the black so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a few seconds and blow dry this. If you got a blow dryer from the supply list, just for the next few steps, we kind of need the background to be dry. So I'm just going to take and do that. This gives you time, if you're still painting, to catch up or blow dry your own. And it's already dry. Acrylic is super fast. If you forgot to do the white line, that's no big deal. The white line is going to be hidden anyways. The white line was just not to mix together. Even though we were covering it up anyways, I just kept it separate. This is kind of our guideline for where our tree line will be, so no big deal if you covered it up. So I'm going to give everybody a couple minutes just to catch up, let theirs dry a little bit. I'll come back in a minute and just let everyone see how everyone's doing, where everyone's at. So I'll just leave it there. I'm going to just take a couple drinks. Everybody take a sip. What's everybody drinking tonight? Yes, Paula. Okay, I'm glad you found that this blending was easy. I know that you had asked the question earlier. So, I think once people get a feel for how wet it needs to still be, like the difference between painting wet on dry and then wet on wet, then you start to get a feel for how you have to blend. Okay, I'll try to speak up if it's a little hard to hear me. I usually have tea when I paint, but I felt like something cold tonight, so I just grabbed a bit of Fruitopia. Yes, the video will be available later. As soon as this is done, I'm going to repost it right back up. Yeah, the water on the tip of the brush really makes a big difference. Ooh, raspberry iced tea, that sounds great. Tammy, you make me laugh. Banana caramel vodka with Diet Sprite. You went all fancy. Yes, you can definitely use a darker blue instead of black. That's no problem. No problem at all. Work with what you have. We work with what we have around here. So nothing's particular when I paint. Nothing is set in stone. I just start you where I am and what colors I used and what I did exactly. I like to provide exactly what I have shown you, just so that you're not getting something different. But if you want something different, I am all up for making it your own. So different colors, if you want to add more trees later, if you want 2 moons, like whatever you want. I'd like to see the creativity. There are no rules with painting, just fun. Just for me. I'd be drunk if I drank that tonight. I'm a lightweight. You will know if your paint is dry without touching it if there's no shine left. So if you are left with like a matte finish, it's dry. Anne says, white wine. What are we painting tonight? Just kidding. Maybe she already had a couple glasses. I am in Ontario, Canada. I don't live in the States. But I am close to a border city near Detroit, Michigan. Okay, so our next color really is, most of our next colors that we're going to be doing is just working with some black and then the same colors we did for the sky. This painting is, it's got a limit of colors really. It's pretty simple in that aspect. So, if everybody's done blending and they're pretty dry, just shoot me some thumbs up if you want to continue on, or likes or hearts or whatever you would like. Oh, you lived in Calgary for 9 years? Awesome. That would be a nice place to live. I've never been there. Okay, I have a ton of thumbs coming up, so I'm going to continue on. You thought you heard Canada in my voice, yes. Hey. Okay, so we are still going to stick with our 1/2-inch flathead brush. Now, what I like to do, because we're going to be painting the line between the sky and the water, I'm going to re-wet my brush and just kind of pat it off on my paper towel. And then I want to take my fingers and I just want to blend those bristles upward. My goal here is to make kind of a little bit of a thinner line because I'm going to use this almost like a detail brush, but so we're just kind of brushing them all in one section like that, just up. Okay, so what we're going to work on next is this here. We're going to be doing all this part here. And we're going to take, and we're just going to dunk this brush like flat in. I'm just going to do that, and I'm just going to pat it off the side a little bit. We don't want it to be like loaded crazy like we did when we were blending. We're just going to use this as our outline first. So I'm going to be painting with this brush on a 90-degree angle, exactly like this. And I am just going to take, and for now, I'm just going to draw a little bit of however you're going to want your skyline to be in the back. So this one's pretty subtle. It's not too crazy. But we're going to start a little bit into the sky, and then we'll come down a little bit past this. So I'm just taking, my brush is flat, and I'm just kind of giving myself an outline. Now this doesn't have to be perfect. My painting here is probably not even going to be exact this one because we are doing freehand. So we're just going to take and kind of just give ourselves little dips and little hills along here. And as we get closer to the side, it's going to come up a bit more. Just like that. So that is just our outline for now. You can see it's not solid, it's not perfect, it doesn't even look pretty, and that's okay. So we're just achieving that first line. Now I always like to say start a bit smaller than bigger. We can always add, we really can't take away too easily, especially with a blended background. So, for example, if I started here, and I felt like my trees or hills or whatever you want these to be in the back are a little low, you can always go up and add more to the silhouette. You can't really take it away. So we're just going to start like this, and after we're done filling it in, if you feel like you would like a few more ridges, we can always add those. So after you've got your outline there, we're just going to take and just, I'm using it almost on a 45-degree angle now, flat, and I'm just going to cover in this here. I'm just going all along. I'm not really worried too much what's happening here yet. I'm just kind of filling it in. When I came down here, I just moved my brush the skinny way, back and forth, instead of having it flat like this. I just kind of moved it skinny so I can keep control of how wide this is down here. And we're just filling in that gap. The line down here does not have to be incredibly straight. If we were standing down here looking out, we wouldn't really be able to see this clearly. So if there would be like little nooks and stuff in here, it would kind of look uneven. So it does not have to be just a straight line. It can be a little bit lower in some areas. I'm just going to bring it down a little bit more. When you're done that, you can rinse your big brush off. Make sure it's pretty clean because we're going to be going into some colors and we don't want the black to mix in. So I'm just going to wash it a couple times here. How's my internet working for everybody? Am I freezing at all? Am I doing pretty good? We've had some internet issues since everybody's been online learning. So I upgraded today, but it doesn't come till Tuesday. Till we get like a little bit of a faster speed, and we shouldn't have issues after that. Perfect. Okay, great. Awesome. Freezing sometimes. Okay. Okay. So once we're done that, yes, this will be recorded. Okay, so once we're done that, I'm just gonna take, what we're gonna work on now is just our reflection in the water. So we're gonna be doing this part here. And it's gonna be basically the same technique as when we blended up here. Just, obviously we're not going edge to edge. But I'm gonna start with just a tiny bit of pink first, or the magenta. And I'm gonna get my brush wet and just kind of pat it off gently. So we want the brush to be damp, but not soaked. And we're gonna go into here and just grab a little bit, because we're not trying to achieve side to side. We're just trying to get a little bit of the water with reflection. And I'm gonna start off with just a little bit of pink at the top, and I'm going to be going this way. So you're gonna see my brush is the skinny way to start. And I'm going to be going here where the black and the blue meet. And I'm just gonna be going back and forth very gently. I'm very light-handed right now. I'm gonna add a little bit more pink there. So when I am going, it's kind of hard to see from there. When I am going, I'm going to take from the middle, and when I go this way, I'm just going to kind of flick that there, because that, the water is, the sky is reflecting onto the water. We don't want to go too far. We kind of want to have our edges just a tiny bit skinnier than the center, because that's how the sun would reflect it, or the water would reflect it. So just kind of flicking out from the center and flicking out. Very light-handed. I'm not pressing hard at all. And you're going to see when I come in with the brighter colors, this is going to show a lot better. The mountain on the left end, all I did was just paint black so far. This side's just up a bit higher. But you can have it however you want for the back, but I just made the one side a bit higher. So with that color still on our brush, we're going to go into some yellow. And again, we're just going to have just the end. It's not like falling off of there or anything. If you have to pat a little bit of the extra off, go ahead. And this is the yellow. So we went with a little bit of the pink first, and now we're just going with the yellow. And I'm going to do the same thing, using it sideways like this. And you'll start to see it come in. You'll start to see the reflection coming in. And this one we can bring down a bit further. And I'm just sweeping back and forth, light-handedly. As I get to the edge, I just flick off. So I am a little bit harder-handed here, like heavier-handed, and then when I go out here, I let the brush just lightly touch the canvas and I flick off. That's how you're going to get those ends. You'll see here. You're going to get those ends that look like the water's kind of moving a little bit. Yeah, so I just put a little bit of pink at the top first just to start it, and then I went in with the yellow. And my yellow and pink are mixing a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just going to go over with a little more yellow here. Yes, if you're having a hard time seeing this, and if you're watching from your phone, I see someone must have asked a question because someone answered it. You can slide the comments to the right, I believe it is. Slide them to the right with your finger and they'll leave, and then you'll just see me in the whole screen. So you'll be able to see the canvas a lot better. So once we have that, we're going to go and we're going to do that with orange as well. So just putting my paintbrush once again in some orange. I did not wash it yet. And just back and forth, same way. And you'll achieve this. You just don't want to have too much paint on your brush, or it's just going to be like one big, kind of like when we did this, right? So you want to be able to see these ends kind of cutting off, and that's, you get that with less paint on your brush. And you can go, doesn't have to be straight, you can go out a little bit more over here and keep it in a bit more. Then as you move down, you can kind of bring it back out. So I'll go over it really quickly here. So I just started with a little bit of pink up here. And the reason for that being is when I didn't wash my brush and I went to the yellow, you're going to get a little bit of the pink inside that yellow. And that's what we want to get. That's the reflection from the sky. So this is a little bit of pink with that light yellow color. And then I went to orange here. And I have a very light amount of paint on my brush. And it's just flat this way. So if my canvas is here, this is how it is. And I'm going back and forth like this, very light-handedly, just like this. And I'm just kind of flicking here and flicking on the ends. And that's how you're kind of getting this edge here. And practice does make perfect. Like I said, I've been doing this for probably over 10 years. I keep saying 10 years every year that passes. So, and I'm still only 17. Yeah, right. So, anyways, just practicing, learning hand pressure, learning how much paint has to go on your paintbrush. It's not going to be something that you learn overnight, but you'll see with each painting you do, it kind of progresses a bit. It gets better. I have a few people that paint with me almost every time I've done one so far. I've been doing these online since COVID hit, so since probably April or May, something like that. And the same people paint every week with me, and I've seen, like, they start off like I did, just, you don't know the techniques, so nothing's as smooth, the transitions aren't as smooth as they should be. And then by this week, which is, I don't know, like 16 paintings later, I see their paintings come in and they're proud of them, they have confidence in them, and it just kind of makes my heart smile because it just shows practice makes perfect. And I always say I started my business to give people confidence through art. And if we can take something that we were not so great at and make it great, then we can really do that in any area of our life. So I am very, very a strong believer that practice makes perfect, and that's what builds our confidence. So we had the pink and the yellow and the orange, and we're going to go back to that magenta pink at the bottom here. And we're doing the same exact thing, just kind of tapping the brush in, just a little bit there, and then just going lightly back and forth. And as we move down into the water, we're going to start getting skinnier because the reflection of the sky is getting further away. So we want to take and start at our widest point, and we kind of want to start bringing it in as we get down there. And kind of just trailing it off after this point. Just like that. My mom said that's okay, it just makes me late 20s. Yes, Mom. At heart, you still are. No, I did not use any white. That is just the light yellow in there for the top. I haven't used white on any of the painting yet. That's just, it looks kind of white in the, I can see from my camera reflection here, kind of looks white, but that is just yellow on the top. It's the same color we did here, is actually here. And Timmy says, nice try, ladies. Yeah, no kidding. 40 ain't too far away for me. Lynn says, thank you for explaining perspective in relation to the reflection. Yes, I always try to explain as much as I can so you can understand why things are happening. That's how I understand things best, so that's how I explain them. Janine, yes, there will be a replay. There will be a replay, and it will be up. I keep my replays up for quite a long time, so no rush. This is a multimedia paper, so I'll show this one, that way I don't ruin my painting. So this is that there. So this is a mixed media paper pad. This is 60 sheets on Amazon for about $20 Canadian. Probably a bit cheaper if you're in the States and you can do Amazon.com. And this is great because it does not leak. So you can do watercolor, you can do acrylics, and it will not leak anything through. So if I go to my last painting here, so this one here, this is my last painting I did on this, and if I flip, there's no paint came through. And I used water for some of this too, like I mixed water in. The only reason why you see it on the edges is because I painted it like this and it leaked in the cracks. So that's my own fault. But the actual, like, all the way through, there's nothing. So these are really awesome, especially if you want to save some space in your house. This is an 11 by 14. You can get them smaller. And they're also really easy to frame if you like it and you just want to, like, pull this out. You can go to the Dollar Tree and get a frame. You can definitely hang some nice stuff for pretty cheap. Okay. All right. So is everybody okay if I move on? Just give me some thumbs up if we're okay. Yes, Michelle says mixed media paper is a great way to paint a lot on a budget, and that's very true. And you kind of have like a portfolio after, so you can kind of look back, like say you started on page 1 and there's 60 sheets and you paint 60 paintings, you can see your progression getting better. It's great. Okay, I see a lot of thumbs up. I see a couple people saying not yet, so I'm just going to give it one more minute. We'll just relax a bit, let a couple more people catch up, and then we'll continue on. It's an 11 by 14, this one. I don't know if you can get them bigger. If anybody knows, let me know. I've only ever gone with 11 by 14 just so that I can keep paintings close to 2 hours. If we go with the 16 by 20s, it starts to go a little bit over that, especially this one's not as detailed, but some of my paintings are a bit more detailed that I show people, so. Joanne, the video will be up on my page for replay as soon as this is done, so you can watch it again. Yeah, Patty said she bought a media paper at the dollar store. Hey, if it's not leaking through, go for it. Why not save money, especially in these times? I didn't put another color over the mountains yet. We are going to put a little bit, but I just didn't do it yet. So you're not behind at all. Okay. So we'll start moving on. So we're going to work on the moon, and I'm just going to take my small flathead brush. And we're going to put some white on our plate. And there's no need to blow dry right now because we're not going to be doing anything else down here for a bit. We're going to be working on our moon up here. So what I'm going to do is just take my small brush and put it in the white. And just tap the extra off. And we're going to put it, oh, I just smeared my paint. Oh, that's okay, there's going to be a tree there. I just put it a little bit, it's really close up here, and it's just a couple inches over. So it's right around here, and not too enormous or anything, but just a good size. So what I do is I put my brush down completely, I pick a spot, and I move my whole arm. I move my whole arm because then it stays a circle. If you're just moving your wrist, you're going to eventually get an oval. So just move your whole arm with it. And just keep going around until we have something about that size there. So it's maybe like a little more than an inch. And I will show you the original here so you can see in perspective to where it is. We're using our small flathead brush here. On my painting, this is on my right. You're going to be painting probably backwards to me, only because my camera is in selfie mode and I don't have the ability to flip it to look the right way. Because there's no words on this painting, it's not going to make much of a difference. Everything that's on this side is just going to be on this side for you. But I am actually, this is actually on my right side of my canvas right now. And I'm actually painting with my left hand. I am left-handed, but it probably looks like I'm painting with my right hand. So it's kind of confusing. My next phone I get, I'm going to make it so that when I'm doing selfie mode, it's still looking out to you the correct way. I just didn't even know that that was an option until I got this phone. And I am using white for the moon. So I just put a little bit of paint on there. I tapped it off. I picked a spot where I wanted the center of my moon to be, and I put my brush right on there. And then I just moved my whole arm in a circle all the way around until I got it as big as I wanted it. Darlene says I'm a lefty too. If you, you probably know the struggle of dunking your arm in the paint a lot then. My hand's always full of paint. Yes, I always say if you're painting and you're left-handed, always paint from the right side of your canvas and over, because many times I've done this and then it just goes schmear and it's ruined. Especially when I do wood signs with like words, I always start on the right side and move over. Alright, so what we're going to do while we already have this small brush out and we have the white going, we're going to make the reflection of the moon in the water here. So on the original, it's kind of just down. I just put it, just move straight down and about halfway or a little bit more down the water. And we're just going to do the same thing. So we're going to take a little bit of paint on our brush and dab it off. We're still using our flathead brush. And I'm going to use this brush the same way I used the big one. So we're going to be going on the skinny part and just back and forth like this. Right down here. I'm going to make the moon a bit smaller to bigger and then a bit smaller again, because this is just a reflection, so it doesn't have to be exact. So I'm just going to go gentle side to side here. And I'm very light-handed. I'm not pushing too hard, because we don't want a big blob. We want it to be just kind of hitting and missing that reflection there. If you're following exactly how I'm doing it, then everything will work out opposite. So if you're gonna draw this moon on, it will look like your left side, I believe, right now. Then you'll just draw the bridge, I guess, going this way backwards, which it doesn't necessarily mean it's backwards, it's just backwards to mine. But if you're painting it opposite to me, then you're gonna be doing it the same way I am, if that makes sense, not to be too confusing. So keep everything in perspective of how it's going. Like if your moon's on this side, then do the bridge the same way I'm doing it. That way it all goes together, if that answers your question. So that's our moon there. Just give it a second, then we'll go on to the bridge. I wish I could play some funky music, but Facebook won't let me have audio if I do, so I could just paint in silence. You guys just sing for me and blare your music for me. I'll just be singing in my head. If you missed the beginning, Lola, you can just, as soon as this is done, you can just replay. I'm going to replay it, so you can just go and watch it from the beginning if you missed the beginning. Thank you. I have this tattoo here for my dad, who passed away. He loved music, so I just got little music notes, and whenever I see a moth, it's a long story, but whenever I see a moth, it reminds me of him. So it's like he's visiting me. So I got a moth with dad and then the music notes. And then I have this one here for my mom. Me and my mom got this one together. She is, yes, still alive, thank God. And she has daughter written on hers. Yes, the finished painting is also on mixed media paper 11 by 14. Okay, so we're going to move on to the bridge, and we are going to use our small flathead brush still, so we can keep that out. And all we're going to be doing first is drawing this line here, all the way down. So I always say when we look at a painting, look at it in pieces and pick it apart, because if you look at it as a whole, you're going to get intimidated, you're not going to know where to start, and you're going to say, I'm never going to be able to do this. So always look at it as shapes and lines and really steps on how you would achieve this. So we're going to do that line next. And I'm just going to take this here and I'm going to dunk it in the black paint. Yes, I have a beagle who is laying on the bed right now. You hear puppy paws. I don't know, maybe he went and got a drink. So, we are going to be painting this the same way that we did the water. So we're going to just be painting it on a 90-degree angle, same way that we got the outline of our hills or mountains to our trees, whatever that they are considered. Okay, and we're just going to do a thin line from one side to the next. Now this is bowed a bit, so it starts here, a little bit above. It just comes up a tiny bit, and then it goes back down. It's touching here when we're done. So I'm actually going to start on this side, and I'm going to start touching my trees or mountains. And I'm just going to go slow. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, we can thicken it up after. So I'm just going to go back down like that a little bit. It's a very small curve. It's not huge. And I'm just going to thicken that line up a little bit. I'm going to do mine from the bottom because I went a little bit higher in this painting and I want to leave room to be able to see that bridge. And I'm really just taking the brush and just following that line and just making it a bit thicker. A good way to keep your hand steady when doing a line, just keep your baby finger on your canvas or your surface. I always keep my hand on. I'm only painting with my fingers. I'm not moving my whole arm. So I have my hand down or my baby finger down for stability, and it's following that line the whole time. My hand doesn't come off. And that's how I keep it steady. Just make sure your paint's dry so your hand isn't going all in it. Yes, this is the brush here. So it's just a small flathead brush. So if you're following the moon, the same side will touch that tree line. Same side here. This side will be a tiny bit up. So this is on my right hand side for me. If you have it on the left, then you're going to touch, whatever side your moon's on, you're going to touch that bridge with that tree line. Okay. So I'm going to take the same brush once I have that line, and I'm going to draw 2 lines, or paint 2 lines straight down here, just like this. So I'm just going to start from the top. I have my baby finger on here. Pick a place you want the first line to be, and actually just physically put your brush on there just lightly, and then just go straight down, like that. And you're going to do it again on this side, so there's going to be 2. I don't have a place to sit the original picture in front the whole time. I'm trying to think of where maybe I could place it back here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it too well though. I'll place it there. Hopefully it doesn't fall. Is that okay? That's as best as I can do for it kind of showing. Just because my phone, the lens does not show too wide of a angle there. Okay, so because now this is what I mean when I say everyone's painting's gonna be different. I started mine a bit higher this time, so I'm not gonna, I'll probably do 3 small ones, but it's not gonna be to scale like that one is, but it's all gonna be relatively the same anyways. It's just, I'm just gonna downscale this a little bit, but what we're gonna do next, so after we have this, we're just gonna take the same brush and we're just putting lines in between these 2 lines here. So I have 3 lines there. So I'm just gonna put 3 lines in, just evenly separated there. So you'll see there, looks like a little ladder. So all we did so far was we just did the line from here to here. And then we did 2 lines here. And we just put 3 lines in the middle. Patty says on top of your painting. I'm not sure what you mean on top of my painting. For which part? Oh, up here. Yeah, we could, I don't know if it, I don't think there's enough space here for it to hold the paper. I think it would fall over because it's not high enough. So when you're done with that brush, you can rinse it off because we're going to go to the smaller one now. Yeah, I don't think it'll fit up there. I can try, but I think it's gonna, well, yeah, it's gonna push this whole easel thing's gonna go flying, I think. Hopefully you can see that okay. I'll keep moving the painting I'm doing up to the front of the camera for you. Okay. So we're gonna switch to our detail brush. I see a lot of thumbs up. Is that, is everybody good if I continue on? Okay. Yeah, I guess I could maybe pull this out. Let me see. Let me see if that works. Does that work? Woohoo! Let's do a little dance. Can everyone see that okay? Man, you guys are smart. I've only had the easel for 10 years. I need to go on your lives. You guys gotta teach me something here. That's good. Yes, you can see all my paintings. I have a lot of my past tutorials up. I also have a lot of events coming up, so you can see them all either under events, or if you just go under my videos, they're all there. Also, I also have a YouTube channel just called Artisticress, so if you just want to quickly get to more free tutorials, you can go onto Artisticress on YouTube, and you can do what I have posted so far. Okay, so now we're going to move on to this little guy right down here, and we're going to put him here. So I'm going to take my detail brush into the black paint. And I'm just going to draw two little lines side by side here. Your painting might be further down from the moon, then you can do it a little bigger. I'm going to do mine a little bit tinier just so it looks like it's actually from a distance. And we're just going to put those in. And then I'm just going to connect the top of them with just kind of a little swoop. So almost like a little U, but not as deep. Christine says, just be careful, don't drip on it. Yeah, that'd be my luck. It'll probably happen. So it just looks like that. Two little lines, and then we just have a little swoop there. And we're going to do the same thing as we did with the bigger one. And we're just going to put three little lines going this way. So one at the very bottom. Just like that. Okay, so we're gonna continue with this small brush here, and we're gonna work on this tiny one here first. So you'll see in this one, we are just gonna be creating these side lines here. So we're not starting right at the top. I'm going to hold this closer while I do it so you can see. So on this side, we're not going to start right at the top. We are going to just go a little bit down, and I'm just going to draw a line from there to there, just like that. And on this side, I'm going to start a little bit, just like right about here. And we're going to come all the way off the page. And I'm just going to put some lines into it. Now, when I do these lines down, they're very light. So we want them to look really thin, like they're from a distance. They don't even have to necessarily be connected at the bottom, just from a perspective point of view. But like I said, this is not to scale. This is just a fun painting. So we're just going to kind of go down like this. You'll see those there. I'm going to bring them down just a tiny bit further, but they don't even really have to fully touch. We kind of get that feeling like it's too far away to see the bottom of them. And then same with over here, I did the same thing. So just kind of almost to the bottom. Just like that. I see you lost a video. Am I back? Let me know if I'm back. I don't see anything on my side. It looks like it's perfect. So just let me know. Okay, I'm seeing thumbs up. Okay. All right, so we're going to move to this side. And I will hold it close while I do it, just so everybody can see. I'm gonna make sure I don't get no paint on my sweater first. I should have an apron on. It's my own fault. Okay, so we're gonna work on the side that's closest to the edge of the page first. And I'm just going to take and do 2 swooping lines. So right from the top, I'm going to swoop down. And then I'm going to do another one right under. Just like that. And then I'm going to take and do this part here. So just up and down lines all through here. Just from the top all the way to the bridge. Okay, I see a lot of your good. Okay, awesome. So that's that side there. And then on the other side, we are going to be doing a line from here, kind of a little less than halfway. So from here to here. And then one beside it from coming up here, almost to the middle here. I'd say a little bit past the middle. Just like that. Okay. And then I am just going to continue lines, but only from this top rope. So not all the way up here, just from this top rope. Going down. And sometimes it's good, you'll get like a buildup of paint on the lower part of your brush. Sometimes it's good just to wipe your brush clean and restart, because that can change the shape of your lines, it can change the thickness. We're just gonna go down here. Like I said, these don't have to be perfect. They are kind of seen from a distance, so. So there we have our little bridge. If the lines break up a little bit, you can leave them. A couple of mine did too, like over here, more in the distance. If it's the bigger part, you can connect them a bit, but they don't have to be perfect. Even just the kind of painting it is, it's not to scale, it's not off of a picture, well, the one I painted, but it's not off of a real bridge. It's just supposed to be a little bit, you know, magical and mystical and bright. So you don't have to connect the lines. If you feel like you like it better if the lines were connected, then go ahead, but mine do not all necessarily connect. Okay, if you're ready to move on, just let me know. Give me a thumbs up and I will move on to next to, we have a little tree up here and we have a little bush on the side. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to my 1/2 inch flathead brush and we're gonna do the opposite. We don't need a thin line right now. We kind of need the bushes to be looking, you know, like full and stuff. So we're gonna take the end of our brush and we're just gonna kind of flick it all over so that the flathead brush, the bristles kind of look widely spread like that. And I'm just gonna take and dunk the very corner of this brush into the black. So you'll see here, I don't have the whole paintbrush done. It's just the one corner. You can see that. And we can start over here, over top of our moon. And I'm just gonna start in this corner, and I'm just gonna go tap up and down. Just tap up and down like that. And you're gonna see how it kind of looks like leaves coming in. And they can be a little bit more dense closer up here, like they're a bit thicker, and then they can kind of trail off, like they're separating as you get to the ends. So you don't want too much paint on the corner of your brush, or it's just gonna look like a blob. You want to be able to see the bristles through that paint. So you want to see the separation of the bristles. You don't want it just to be a clump on there. And then that's when you're gonna tap up and down. And I like the look of it kind of coming over the moon a bit. So I'm gonna go continue this on right over and just have a couple kind of coming out over the moon, just like some branches are extending. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing over here on this side. I'm going to go all the way up to the top, and I'm just going to kind of tap just so it kind of looks like there's a bush here or a tree. Every time I put my paintbrush in the paint, I am tapping it off on the side of my plate, just so it's not too much paint on there. Sorry if my head's in the way there. Move that a bit closer. Here we have a little bit of a tree there, or a bush, and we have a little bit of a tree there. If your moon is too far over, just do your tree a little bit smaller. Just a tiny bit. And by smaller, I mean you don't have to bring it out as much. If your moon is more here, you can just do a little bit here with a couple little branches coming out. Yes, if I'm frozen, just refresh the page. Just go back onto the page and it should be okay. We don't have too much longer to go anyways. We're almost done. I say maybe another 10 minutes. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're just going to put a little bit of texture into here, just so we can see a little bit of texture in the land. And I'm going to take my small flathead brush, and I'm going to put it in the water and just kind of pat it off again. And then we're going to go into the white. Now we want a very little amount on here, not too much. So we're just gonna make sure to wipe off any extra. And we're gonna go really, really light-handed, and we're just gonna kind of hit and miss the top of this. So I'm on a 45-degree angle like this. So I'm really just using that one edge. And I'm just gently kind of hitting the top here. So nothing too great. If you find like it's too much, wipe your brush off. I find that's a bit too much still. And if you do too much, you can always, this is really easy to fix. You can just go over with more black. And just very lightly, there we go. Just kind of give it a little bit of texture through there. So I just put a very little bit of paint. It's not even a ton of distinction. It's just to say something is there in the background. You can see a little bit of depth in there. I did white. You could do the yellow too. That would look pretty too. You know what? A lot of people have a hard time with the lines. It's just about just trying to keep your hand steady. Lines is one of the hardest things to do because you kind of get nervous about it and then you start shaking. Taking a couple deep breaths in before you start doing lines helps. Always keeping your hand firmly on and only moving your fingers helps. It helps steady. I have an ebook coming out that I'm going to be releasing on my page, and it's all tips and techniques on how to become a better acrylic painter. So I almost have it. I have the actual book done. I'm just working on having all the technology part side of it done. So that will be on my page soon, available. So you can grab that and kind of read through it and practice. Okay, so our last step is going to be just putting the lights on the bridge and just putting some stars in the sky. So I'm just going to take the end of my brush here and I'm going to put it into the white. And I'm going to do lights all along this one line here. And I'm just tapping it on there. And I'm just going to put a couple tiny ones on this part here. Same with here. I'll hold it closer in 1 second. And then same with these lines coming down here. Just a couple, 2 or 3. And then same with these ones swinging this way here. And then I'm just going to do the same exact thing in the sky. So just to make stars, I'm just going to dot here and there. A good way to make sure your dots are not too close. I always like to do triangles. So If I have one here and one here, I would have a triangle point there. So you can kind of see it. Then I have one here and one here. So then I could do one, let's say there. And just kind of keep going in triangles. I'm not going to put too many in the lower part of the sky. And then don't forget at the end to sign your work and be proud of it. No matter what stage you're on, if you're an expert or you're just picking up a brush tonight, sign your work. One day you'll look back and say, wow, look how much I've grown. You'll be proud of it. Proud of the journey. I'm just gonna put mine down here. I'm still learning too. Can learn forever, so. So I'll just put that a little closer for a second so you can see where those dots are. So I'll just tell you quickly, I am painting next Friday as well. I'll show you what we're painting. Let me see here, if I can find it. Okay, so we are going to be painting this one next Friday. This one is a $10 fee to join, but you can have as many people per camera. So if you decide you want to do this, and you have, let's say, 5 friends over to paint with you, then you can just pay $2 each. Also, you have lifetime access to this painting tutorial once you pay. So you can paint it many times, you can practice and get better, you can have people over and show them how to paint it. There's many options. So this one's going to be next Friday, and I will put the link for the event inside the comments. I will pin it right after I am done this video. So thank you so much for joining me, and the turnout for this paint night was the best I've ever had, and it just makes me feel overjoyed and so thankful. So I hope everyone enjoyed painting. One more small thing, if you want to send me your painting or put it in this comment feed, I would love to put up a train on my page of everyone's paintings from tonight. I also have a Facebook group called Created to Create with Artisticris. It's a safe space where we show everybody our paintings. They can be from other paint nights with different people. They can be something you painted on your own or created. It's just a place to share our art without judgment. So feel free to ask to join that group, and have a great night, everybody. If this was your first time painting with me, I am very grateful to have you here, and I hope to see you at another one. Have a great night.